We'll see how it goes. So did you hear he's leaving for a few,
Right.
9:15. Go ahead and call the meeting to order here. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, we come to you, Lord, with people who are doing their best, Lord, to guide the business affairs of the county. Father, your handling this will ensure our success from start to finish. So everything we do be done in a spirit of humility, a spirit of truth, and a spirit of this is just trying to do our best. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, everyone, welcome. It's a wonderful day. Weather's perfect out there. I know there's a lot of work being done in the county, and we'll get started here and do our part. So the first thing on the agenda is any public comment or county personnel comment. Is there anybody that fits that description that wants to speak to the commission?
Yeah. It's about rusted off of it, so we got two quotes here. You can do what's put on, I called nap hide for a third one, but they said they do that the size of beds. My never came bad.
I don't hear it's straight up.
Yeah, it's the oldest one, it's a 2000. I think it's pretty weak.
Beds aren't cheap, are they?
Nothing is it?
So if you put it's a 2000 model. And what is it? Freightliner? Freightliner.
It's a good old truck. This should outlast the truck this time, surely.
You think so? How many miles on that thing? 240?
BF and all that. It's one of the good old ones.
So if you put a bed on it, you continue to use it. I mean, it's
Do you pull your pup trailer with that?
We used to, I mean, use the
Yep.
other two, they're newer now,
Okay.
power. Yeah, it really has to.
Okay.
okay. When you
Need the third bid or not, I mean, I can search around and try to find someplace, depending on the three I knew about.
Okay.
Is that bed one that they make down there?
Uh,
Or the one they buy?
I'm not sure, I know the Momigo place, it's a galleon bed, which is what I've had on
Okay,
before, so.
so. They make them down there too, so I don't know.
American, I'm not sure.
But Reed's make some too, so.
It's a war, and so maybe they don't think it.
what caused the bed to fail, I guess, or rust?
Just members are rusted out.
Just salt.
Tell me that start to rust, there's holes in the bed and.
Yeah.
Until you get it loaded, it's pretty,
Sure. I just wondered what
5 years of.
just road salt, stuff like that. Yeah. Okay.
Salt,
Okay.
whatever.
So kind of along that same line, we got our pup truck, his trailer is about the same condition, I think. So.
So we had talked earlier about another truck. If you fix this truck, does that extend the life of the other one at all? Or is this just, well, what I mean is if you get this truck back where it's got a good bed on it and you feel like it's roadworthy and ready to roll, does that extend the time in between wanting to update the other one, or is it affected at all?
No, it's the next thing I was gonna talk.
Okay, well, I didn't mean to steal your thunder. So,
Now, I go checked into a lot, except we had one Kenworth over there, and got to talk with that guy.
Uh-huh.
And they make one that's already bed on it, ready to go.
Uh-huh.
And he called me back this week and they got a rebate, a special, whatever, month of May. Well, it's around 240, he said it'll be under 200, that's just the month of May. It's mostly what we want, a little bit longer bed than I like, but I think it'd be a pretty good opportunity for us. So I haven't really got any other quotes.
Okay. Okay.
Thought about that, but
You guys have a question for Gary?
One line.
Yeah.
Seven. It's under the fifty, so 3 and 1 of it.
You want to see him?
That's what I would look at.
What did you
It's
say?
just 3 and 3 informal bid.
Yeah, just says you shall attempt to,
I mean, 3 informal that you attempt and then one place doesn't do it anymore, where we've done it before.
Quick. Reed Company, this one I'm familiar with. I'm gonna see.
What the same stuff, we got some of the
7
facilities.
to 8 months lead time, you have to schedule your time. That.
That get it done on time?
well, I mean, it'll struggle along for till we're ready.
Okay.
We've got Reed, it's a galleon bed with them, and that's what it has, so. That make it easier to switch over or not.
So just, I mean, just. I don't know, the inner tightwad in me, on a truck that's 25 years old, is there any used beds out there that are decent that they could swap? I mean, did the county ever do anything like that?
Never have, I mean, I haven't looked.
Is there a place those would be available? I mean, it's probably,
Personally, I wouldn't think so, you know, by the time they're
sure.
using it in this kind of shape, but
I don't know, sometimes say a truck, the motor goes out and it's got a good bed and the guy just, scraps it.
it could be, I guess. I haven't really looked.
Yeah, okay. Okay, you went back and looked.
It's kind of a new cylinder.
Oh, I just listened.
This one from Reed's has a new
What
cylinder.
is? Suggest I'll take that, try to attempt to get 3 bids, anything under the 50,000.
50,000 is the cutoff.
Yep. And after that, that's. Official bid process then.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, what's your pleasure with this thing? Got a truck that needs a bed? To my right, look to my left.
That's
Up to me?
what, make the motion, I mean.
Okay. And I mean, if you looked and you feel like this is the way you want to go, it's the best option.
So what's your,
I'd probably get some cheaper, and I know it's the same kind. I'd probably do it. Reed, but
With the bed from Reed. And that bed's just what you want. I mean, it's
yeah,
it's the same brand it's on it, so.
the same brand. So do they fix all, you get new hoist and new hinges and I mean, they go through it and anything else on that truck when they take the bed off is there,
There's options, you can have them paint the frame and do all kinds of things, but
well, how is the frame gonna be then?
it's fine.
Frame's good.
That's what I'm asking, have they inspected or really close look at it, make sure that we don't have no surprises. When they get in there.
Do you undercoat the frame when you take it down that far? Do they ever?
We don't, I mean, yeah.
Is that in there?
but there's other options, right?
Okay,
Same last frame and we. Yeah, I don't know why we want rims, but he has all kinds of options here.
and so the options with the pin mark, that's what you're thinking? Is that right? Is that how you got to that figure?
Glass and paint frame. Yeah.
Okay.
3,800.
$3,800.
I don't think we need that.
Can you take the bed off? Do you have the equipment to do that?
Well, we probably could, yeah.
Save 1,700 or 1,200 bucks. Yeah.
Mhm.
But then what do they do with the old bed? Just scrap?
Well, that's what I don't know down there. If we get that back, I mean, there's the old voice, I wouldn't mind keeping that.
Yeah. Sure.
Put it on our haul it back or just take it off ourselves.
And could you do that?
Rough right down to without a bed.
Could you do that safely at the shop, you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, you got a new tarp. Does your old bed have tarp?
Yeah.
Okay, but it's no good.
Yeah, it's the same thing, mouse rusted.
Yeah, okay. Okay, Well. Keep looking, this is. That's the way you want to go. If they're comfortable taking the bed off, I'd recommend they do that at the shop, and that way you can just keep it. And have all the parts that you need.
Scrap iron, something. BG, I don't know. I don't know.
It's 7 or 8. Just got rusty wheels on there, I guess. Look good.
Paints. Bad wheels.
Yeah, okay.
Hydraulic tank attached to the bed.
Frame.
Saying new hydraulic tank too.
I don't need that.
I'm just gonna use my calculator here and see what we come up with, just to double check. So if we,
Or if you wanted to. We'll give him a call and ask him and see if he can send that with the changes on there and ask him to just bring it back into us a little bit.
Well, I mean, I kind of marked the ones that I thought we needed.
and if I take the $1,200 off, if you guys take the old bed off, that gets it to 26,400, which is exactly what your math said it would be. That gets everything that you want. Okay. Okay, well, if we can do it and you did all the research, I mean, I'll make the motion that we purchase the bid from the Reed Company with the work indicated here for a price of $26,400. Oops,
Say
sorry.
it one more time.
And that money will come out of your road districts or our road district capital improvement fund or capital outlay. Where does that come from?
Something to say that special machinery maybe for a new truck.
Special machinery, all right, so then,
You just have to determine if it's gonna be a regular budget and then see where you're at. Good here, because you can still transfer from capital improvement to help out if you need something.
okay, come out regular, fine with me. Yeah, okay, so it comes out of the. I guess I made a motion that we approve the purchase of that bid and with the funds to come out of. Regular, so is there a second? Okay, it's been moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carried, that's done. And I guess if you'd keep us updated, you know, something happens there as far as the scheduling, just let us know when it's gonna get done. Okay, anything else while you're here?
New truck.
Did you have any information on that on paper?
I've been talking to kind of phone. I mean,
Okay,
So you get it down under two, that's only this month.
could you get the info for that and maybe have him email county clerk so she can give it to us? That'd be all right? Yeah, it will be. It's 200 some thousand, so.
I'll have to keep doing bids and.
Yeah.
Okay.
It won't be like a informal solicitation on its own. The bid policies in our.
Sure, that's right. Okay, well, so we're gonna run out of May, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'll have to hurry.
Can you get that information together, and do what you need to as far as Tammy, so we get the bid process, get it rolling?
Hopefully by next Monday, because we're gonna be pretty wild patching this one, pretty busy, but
Right.
I'll try.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Thank you
Thanks, guys.
very much. Okay, any other county personnel or public comment? Roll up 824. Seeing none, we'll roll on. Let's go to the first agenda item here, the minutes from last week's meeting. Are there any questions, comments, or additions or corrections to the minutes?
Choosing.
We approved the minutes of 5/5/2025.
Okay, is there a second?
Second time.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. All right, let's go down to item number 2 here, which is accounts payable. Anything stand out?
I think the Navstar is probably, I was trying to find it, probably with the court services. That they're pins, pencils and tape for. Yeah, NAVRAD, sorry,
What do you say?
90061.
NAV.
Checks. I think it was probably, I was looking back and see if I could find it. I'm pretty sure it did. 9094061. I'm pretty sure it was for district court. I'm gonna try to go back and find it in the listing. I just seen the whole check. Tape.
There's a lot.
More than one department. Okay.
My question, it'd be services for the elderly and the Hiawatha taxi repair. Is there?
There was an accident happened twice on back. Yeah, burning stone.
Okay.
Standing to get it fixed.
Okay, you're on
They
top
were
of that.
like on the body shop.
Okay, and then I had one on the, under the, it was vehicle detailing. It'd be under the,
That was JJ over there. I had that wrote. too.
okay,
Right, yeah, that's quite a bit.
Juvenile justice. That's not us, they paid $800. Juvenile justice across the street, they have their own funding.
okay,
Their stuff just runs through.
okay. Well, I ran through this, I guess. And there was one more in here with a, and I with a tow charge for $800 and some in
And that,
a road district, I believe.
so that one truck quit coming back from hauling rock. It got all hot in the cab and they didn't know what was going on. It wouldn't. Anyway, they towed it back.
Okay,
And then they got it back. Now, they didn't know what was wrong with it, but they ended up replacing the fuse. And it seemed like it.
Oh, there's something burned underneath the dash.
That they thought it was.
More damage. Getting fired.
all right.
Right, they were pretty concerned about it, yeah.
That's what they said. I heard them say.
Well, you guys are in the know. Okay, that, any more questions about that then? For the accounts payable?
Not really, just, we always pay, I mean, it was over $500 for water this. I mean, the water conditioning in Seneca, seems like that's quite. I mean, it's every month, it's not unusual for this month, but that's just paper and drinking water, it seems like that's all.
Because when you turn on the waters in this building early in the morning, the water's yellow. The old pipes.
Right, I know that. Then I got a question on it's not a very large amount, but on their election from what was that? It's only like $50 from something from Dallas, Texas, the software for a school board election or something? Is that, so is. From Dallas, Texas, is that? Is that? Okay. So it's just through the paper, so. That's why I wondered about something like that.
Okay, any more questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Move to approve the accounts payable 5/12/2025.
Second? I'll second it.
Okay.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. Good job. It's 8:31. We're 1 minute late. Mr. Bonner-Schmidt, would you come up and address the commission about your work?
Morning.
Morning.
I want to give you an update on what we're doing and ask for your recommendations. We had our meeting with your consultant, Patrick Hughes, on first Wednesday of April and started to discuss commercial industrial solar zoning. And he recommended that we should interview the cities of Hiawatha, Horton, and Sabetha to determine their position on the 3 mile jurisdiction and look at their current zoning and then make a recommendation to you, the commission, and see how you felt about it. So we had our meeting. I sent out a letter, county clerk mailed it out for us and helped develop it. And the only one that responded was the city of Sabetha. Hiawatha was to meet with us at 8:45 and nobody showed up. Horton was supposed to be the last one about 10 o'clock and nobody showed up. So after we got through with Sabetha, I went up and talked to Nicole and she checked with the city of Hiawatha and they said, well, the city commissioner, the city administrator was at a doctor's appointment. Nobody else was available. And then she called Horton and they said, oh, we thought this was similar to what we already went through and didn't have to do anything about it or something like that, but she explained, no, this was for solar company. That was industrial wind. Well, then they said, we still have the same position on the 3 mile as we did. And we have the letter that they sent in originally and pretty well details their position on it. So we discussed it all and came up with 3 things and our recommendation. If you can see the 3 considerations we discussed was respect the city's extraterritorial jurisdiction for zoning. That means 3 miles for Hiawatha, 3 for Horton, and 5 for Sabetha. The second one would be single zoning district that would all unincorporated territory up to the city limits. And the third one would be the single zoning distance up to the city's 3 mile unincorporated territory. Now, Sabetha, when he come in, the city administrator brought their zoning regulation, which was done in 2020, and a map outlining their boundaries, and discussed why they would like the extraterritorial jurisdiction to 5 miles because that's their primary source of water in that area, and they would like to, be able to control somewhat what happens in that jurisdiction.
Presently 3 miles. You
Yeah,
want to change it to 5.
well, they, as I understood him, they have 5 mile jurisdiction.
I couldn't remember.
That was, well, I've got their map here somewhere. Of course, they're primarily concerned with the northeast portion of from the city into Brown County.
For the water supply.
So do they have any regulations on solar
Yeah,
now?
yeah,
Okay, cause I know they had. There was a debate, well, a couple of years ago or so about putting a solar place in there. I think they turned that down, so.
so.
I think it was solar.
He said they could live with the restriction to the 3 mile, but they would really prefer to have it 5. What we would like to have, according to the consultant, is kind of your recommendation on which one of these courses you would prefer to go. As we start off during the process.
So it's 5 miles outside their city limits. Is that correct?
That's what they would like.
And does that include them down to Fairview? Does that 5 miles almost get you down to Fairview? I think.
Isn't this? That's what I took that to mean. It followed the perimeter of the city. So I don't know why, actually, why don't they go down in the south or southeast corner? Looks like a map. They don't take what they could. Am I looking at that map right, Bill?
Apparently their boundary on the south is 36 miles.
Okay. Okay,
Okay, so that yellow line's their boundary. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yes.
These around here.
uh,
it's just for whatever reason, it doesn't follow the perimeter of the city in this,
Right.
everything else, it does pretty well.
Well,
Okay,
this,
Take another picture.
this question is Fairview and Moreland, do they have they don't have any outside restrictions, do they? I mean,
just about the ordinance I want. Yeah. Okay, so did we define? Or is commercial and industrial solar, is that term defined? What does that mean? I guess, if a person. Wanted,
Basically, we will define it, but the commercial enterprise come in,
okay,
set up a solar enterprise, and then the power that's produced will be sold out in the county.
okay,
In other words, it won't be Lucas Heinen building something on his place, power his house and his barn.
okay,
It will be
okay,
outside of the county.
okay, I just didn't know if it had, so then, just for conversation, so we know we have one, south of Willis. Is that a commercial and industrial solar? Where it's tied in with the REA?
No, because well, it's already
It's already-
established,
right.
but it's going to the
Okay,
REA, and that power is shared
Okay.
within Brown County.
okay, all right,
I'm not gonna say some of it doesn't go outside of that because REA is jurisdiction.
so as we learned with the REA, and I'm just asking questions because, just for clarification, that the REA is essentially that's leased out to a company that's out of state. They, and, you know, they're using power, but it's,
You know, they basically build it for the REA.
yeah,
They're operating,
okay. Okay,
as we discussed that at some length about.
okay, you guys are on top of that, I'm sure you are, okay. Does having that existing facility, does that change what we need to do at our, because we already have an established, or since it doesn't meet the definition of commercial industrial, since we use the power here, we can still make regulations from now.
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, it's already in existence, so it's hard to tell that they got it.
Certainly. Certainly. I'm just asking questions. I know you're doing your homework.
But they won't. They want to put it in another one, if we had jurisdiction, and they'd have a problem then.
Unless, again, that it didn't meet the definition because
Yeah,
we're
that's
using
correct.
power in the county. Yeah, okay. All right. Any more questions?
Well, if that's okay, I'll pass this on for Mr. Hughes. We're gonna plan on starting our next meeting in June.
Okay.
So you're saying that's all right for say about that half mile range? Is that what we,
What we agreed to with the wind.
well, we just agreed for 3 miles for the wind, I think.
But they also have zoning that goes out to 5 miles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
And actually, I'll tell you that Hiawatha and Sabetha are the only two complete plans that I've looked at. Horton, we just went off of exactly what they had in the letter, which pretty well describes what their zoning comprises of, and Horton and Memphis, not outside the 3 mile.
All right. My understanding was 3 miles, and I thought that was by state statute, but we can do that through the county. Kevin, can we recognize that for 5 miles? Outside.
So I need to be careful since I represent REA and we've retained views to advise them on that, so I'm not specifically addressing this one in general, it's 3 miles. Or, I don't think I think you had mentioned Fairview, I don't think it can extend more than half the distance to the city. So some of those may implicate some, so you might want to talk to just use about that specific issue. Usually extra territorial outside the city, it's 3 miles. So that's something on the specific issue you might talk to views about that. I think that's something, I mean, I'm certainly, I think the county could agree to something more than statute. You could ask views about that, but it's typical to have 3 miles outside the city.
but so that explains why it doesn't go so far. It's not, doesn't go clear Moreland to Fairview, if it can only go halfway, that's why it only goes a shorter distance that way than it does otherwise.
Yeah, we will discuss that with you. Make sure that's
Okay,
valid, that you're not doing something against the statute.
sure.
No, what I'm saying is, I mean, I didn't ask him about that. The statute just mentions 3. I think a county can possibly agree not to have regulations extend up to a 5 mile radius of the city. I mean, that's something the county could probably, what they're doing is just statutory frameworks usually 3 is all I'm saying.
The recommendation.
Bill, walk me, I mean, at the risk of being redundant here, walk me through 1, 2, and 3. So 1 is what you're recommending, correct?
That's correct.
So how does that? If we go with 1, does that still include, I mean, 2 or 3, or do those get thrown out? Well,
Well, it actually would supersede the other two,
it does, okay,
because in there we have 5 miles for Sabetha And the other one,
Okay,
at the bottom is 3 miles for all three cities.
okay, okay.
And of course, number 2 is up to their city limits.
So then, okay, I'm sorry, I was, I
Right.
understand. Okay, so your recommendation is number one, and we're gonna ask Mr. Hughes, or you'll ask Mr. Hughes about the 5 miles.
Right.
And we'll, okay, all right. So. As far as from us, do we need to make a motion then to allow him to proceed with this recommendation?
But I think the approval will come when it's formally presented, so you could have. If you all discuss it, we could just have consensus was that this was acceptable, except maybe that ask them to visit with you about 5 miles. So I mean, if that's a consensus, I think we could pass.
Are we nodding our heads in
I think
agreement?
so.
So, okay, there's consensus.
All right. very
Thank you
good.
very much. Appreciate it. Thanks for doing the work too. I know you spend a lot of time on it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay. It's 8:46. We're a little late. I'm sorry. Mr. Pounds, would you like to come up?
Good morning.
Hi, guys. Thank you.
Okay, first thing I'd like to talk about is the, you asked me to figure out the proposed cost between the noxious weed and the transfer station building. Total cost of the new building is approximately $197,000 with the low bids, what I was using. Okay, and then we've got the cost of the tipping floor concrete and the parking pad. The bid for that is $32,500. 1,200 square feet of that is a building. So 1,400 square foot is the tipping floor and pad, which is 54%. So that equals $17,550. I propose that $17,550 be paid from transfer station to noxious weeds, a rate of $500 a month until it's paid back starting January 2026. Okay. You asked for, me to come up with some plan, that's my proposal for it.
Okay.
So
And
$500 per month
500 a month, yes,
on that 17,000.
right,
So in 2026.
right, January, yep.
And that passes the auditor. That. Okay. Excellent.
Anything else on that? Okay, moving on. You asked me to figure out how much of the building was used per square foot by the transfer station. Okay, we've got 1,200 square foot. One office is for the transfer station director. If we have an office that's shared 50-50 for the sale of chemicals and operating the scale. Because that's where Heather sits now. Public comes in there and buys chemicals out of it. The rest of the building's noxious weeds. So when I figure that 25% out, it comes to $44,862.50 is the 25% of the proposed new building. Okay, my proposal on how the transfer station is going to pay rent towards that is we already pay all the utilities out there. Electricity, the 1 meter, there's 3 meters out there, only one go to that building, and I think that's all that should be counted towards noxious weed. And that's $99.26 a month on the average, and that would be split in half between the two. Okay, and then we have the telephone, internet, we share all that, there's no longer 2 separate services. That's $113.09 a month. And then the propane heat is on the average about $100 a month. So I propose that the transfer station continue paying 100% of that. And that's how we'll pay rent towards this.
Okay, you're heating that building for $100.
Well, I asked Heather and that was the best she could come up with,
Yeah,
so.
it's- yeah.
It comes from Ag Partners, it's mixed in with the fuel and I've
Okay.
never looked into the propane cost.
Okay. Doesn't sound like much. All right.
Well, on the average, you figure 8 months a year, you're not using propane.
Right, right. Still doesn't sound like much. Okay. All right.
That's everything on the building that I have.
The new road,
Well,
You're
that's
going down.
separate
Okay.
from the.
I'm sorry,
The building.
jumping ahead. I'm sorry. All right. I guess now's the time for questions. If you have any. Did you happen to bring, you got the bid? Okay. Okay, and this was the bid. We opened these several weeks ago. This was the low bid.
Yes.
And you went through and you refined it, changed a few things. Would you like to indicate? Or-
Okay, what was
Re-
changed was, I verified that concrete where it said, I believe it was 6 inches or 5 inches. It needed to be 8 inches and the concrete guy went through and refigured it. And he said it's still covered in the bid to be done at the 8 inches.
Okay.
He will not change it. The second thing was the heating and cooling system.
Mhm.
I did not like the idea of the split units. They went back and figured it, said it's actually gonna be cheaper to do a central heat and air.
Okay.
So that's been changed on paper.
Okay. And did this provide for heated storage for your chemicals?
Yes,
Does.
the
Okay,
whole building.
okay.
So my question is it good to store your chemicals in the same building you're working in?
They've always done it that way.
To me, it's, I don't know.
There's ventilation in it.
Oh, God, it's just a walk-through door, only thing,
Yeah.
it's the rest of the building, it's not open, it's the whole building.
Right.
Unless you leave the door.
I just know that years ago, the experiment farm stored their chemicals upstairs or something, and the guy ended up with cancer. Whether it came from the chemicals or not, I mean, it's just kind of a concern. I would prefer not to work in a place where the chemicals were stored.
Most of the ag retail businesses here, the offices are. Well, I can't say most, but the ones I can think of are, they're all in one big complex where the offices are walled off. And the chemicals are outside or inside the building,
So maybe it's an issue.
but you have ventilation.
There's no ventilation too, because you all, it's all separated, so, yeah.
Yeah, something I never thought about.
Yeah, I store chemicals in my shop. I mean, but that's just what we do.
Used to store them in the basement too, but I'm not really prefer that.
Yeah.
I mean,
So what?
yes, but I don't live in the house anymore either.
Okay, well, that's, I mean, that's a fine question, but you've allowed for that. You said with ventilation in the storage area. And that means, I mean, externally, you're cycling the air through somehow.
They got a ventilation on the wall, you get the fan on it, sucks it all out,
Okay,
so.
okay. And when you're heating and air, you won't draw, is there gonna be a cold air return, do you know, in that storage area? That might be something to add.
That's what I'm thinking. It's radiant.
Okay.
Out there in that area. And it's not.
So it's not in,
Right.
okay,
It's
okay,
not returning air into the rest of the building. It's certain.
okay,
Yeah, because right now there's no heater air in that old one,
right,
so. What's ventilation?
right. Okay,
So I guess if it was this radiation or had its own heat source, there wouldn't be any too much reason except to have it in the same building. I mean, I don't know how big a building you need to store. But how much chemical do you need? How many square feet of storage space you need?
What do you think? What kind
Not, are you counting the truck being in there?
No, just the
chemicals?
chemicals.
I would say that was 20 foot wide by 15. 20 by 15,
A little storage shed about take care of that
but we'd have to insulate and
and
heat it.
heat it, right?
I don't know, does hot air, so summer heat hurt that chemical? That'd be cool.
sunlight hurts it, but I don't think high temperatures, I mean,
Okay.
people won't get 200 degrees.
No.
So where are you tracking, Bill? Are you tracking,
I don't know, I'm just
you're just thinking?
throwing out some things.
Okay.
now.
So, I mean, if I understand you, are you thinking that instead of housing the chemicals in the building that we're looking at here, that maybe they should have a storage shed
Something like
It's heated.
that's heated?
that's needed, yeah.
It's a whole other
Yeah, that would, I mean,
And
That's-
you're just looking out for the safety of the workers, that's why you're bringing that up.
right, kind of, but. But you store your truck in there, that has, I don't know if it wash off. I just remember when we used to park our sprayer, nothing grew underneath it. I mean, we didn't dump it there, but that just.
Nope.
I mean, I don't know.
So the part of the building where the truck and the herbicide will be stored is separated from the office and the rest of the building. You access it, you're gonna have a walk-in door. And that's it, correct? Because there'll be a roll-up door to the outside. So the heat will be a separate, it won't be cooled in there. Just so you'll have a radiant tube heater. And so the air shouldn't really mix other than walking in and out through the walk-through door. So.
How long have I known about that? Land, but it's been set up like that for 40, 50 years.
I think he's just asking a
Yeah.
question really while we're doing this, maybe to keep that separate, but if you're comfortable the way it is.
I just thought, to me, that would be a concern if I was working there.
The other thing, but if the answer to that, if it ever is a concern, is a separate storage shed, and it doesn't have to be very big. I mean, we could look into that some other time.
And we could probably use that garage that's there and insulate it.
And whether you store the herbicides in the building, this new part now, or you decide to do something else, you're not gonna make changes to the building.
I'm not suggesting you make changes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, it was just a
Thank you for
concern.
bringing that up.
All right. Okay. That was a good question. I mean, a good comment. Really, I never even thought about it, but it did raise an alarm when I thought they were gonna heat it. And they'd cycle that full every turn, but if you're not gonna do that, then it shouldn't be an issue. Okay,
I'm fine.
all right. You have any questions? Okay, so we've got the bid for the building at 197,000. Walking through the math here, and we take it all there. Is there, I guess really, is there any other questions or comments for these gentlemen while they're here, or are we ready to make decision? Do you have anything else you want us to know? I mean, you guys have worked together to make this happen. Appreciate that, because we,
So that's not your, that wasn't the highest bid that came in, right? That
This
was.
is the lowest.
So, okay.
and there's still the possibility, there's an overage in there, 10% overage. So there's still the possibility it could come in lower.
Yeah.
On a project like this, where it's being built up there. I mean, are you two, are you looking at and making sure we get the 8 inches of concrete? Are you inspecting? I mean, how is that?
I believe somebody should be told to be in charge of making sure it's
Okay.
meeting the specs. It needs to be somebody that understands the building trades. So, we need to have someone. And I believe I could do that if you choose to have it do.
Okay.
So you had a bill from B and G lately. So what was that for? For B and G engineering?
That was every year, the state comes in and inspects us. And we have an engineering firm and we have to have their stamp of approval saying that everything is done, and they come out and they go through the site. And just make sure it's a yearly
So that
inspection,
didn't have anything to do with the building.
nothing to do with this.
Okay.
Okay, so are we at the point where we can make a decision on this? On the building?
I'm still where I've always been. So. I'm still where I've always been. But. Just my opinion.
You want to state your objection? It's fine. I mean, is the timing, is it the cost, is it both?
Just that people are concerned about the taxes and it looks like I know the money's there, but that could be used to lower the next year's budget somewhat, but
Did you two guys, so we're looking at this, and we're finding this out of the basically, not just. Okay, so are you comfortable? Then, I mean, your truck's pretty new, your sprayer parts are pretty new, I mean, all the other stuff out there is pretty new. Do you feel like you can, I mean, this is a pretty significant hit, you can absorb this? And you don't see anything in the future Okay, so you thought about all that and you stretched it out, okay. So okay. I see the need for your building. And I see you guys have worked this out. I think you have a pretty good arrangement. You're willing to supervise, I guess, or inspect.
Yes.
The building process and. We talked to the auditor about doing this and it's all on the up and up. I guess, is there anything else? You ready to?
I'm good, I'm ready.
Okay, well, I'll make the motion. We approve this bid. This 197,000, which is the RFM. Is that
It's
right?
actually this number down here. So you get it exact. Without the tax,
It's
196.
196, 987, 9. Okay. And that I would make the motion, we approve the bid from, so are we approving it through, it's RFN? Correct. For 196, 987, 90. For the building at the transfer station, according to the description provided, and they made the necessary changes in this. And then we fund this said building through the plan presented. Did you give, does the county clerk have one of these?
Yes, she does, and it's just that top half that we went through.
Okay. That's from here. All right. That's my motion. Is there a second?
I just would like on your, to make it known that this money has been saved for half. That's not the reason for any of the increases that we're having now, obviously. It's been saved for this purpose. Buildings are major improvements out there. Because people know it's in a loan, we're not gonna have to do a loan or anything like that, but added to the taxpayers. Put this up for people coming into that.
Right. Yeah. Right. Well, we anticipate questions on this.
Yeah.
So. And it's
For that. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Then all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign.
Nay.
Okay. All right, well, that's good. Thank you for voting, your conscience. And, okay, we should be able to go then. I guess we will inform RFN Construction and they will begin at their, or what is the timeline now?
Okay, it's still November 1st is when it's supposed to be completed.
Okay.
That hasn't changed.
Okay. And will the county have any sort of policy to I guess, for lack of a better term, enforce that November 1 end date?
There's no penalty put on it, so.
Okay, and that's I think that's all right. What will this do to operations there? Have you made accommodations for that?
Yeah, we will work around it. One thing is, there's gonna have to be a porta potty out there, which that's probably be the biggest inconvenience.
Okay.
The way that we handle the trailers is gonna have to completely change.
Okay.
And, we're just gonna work around it.
Okay.
But that's the only two big things.
All right. Okay, now, moving on then, on the bottom half of the page.
Okay. The second page that has the diagram on it, several years ago, doing emergency management, part of my responsibilities was during a major disaster, when we have a lot of tree debris, like a tornado goes through the area, where do you get rid of that? I have to have a plan for that. The city of Hiawatha at that time said they did not want to take the tree debris out to their dump site. They wanted to bring it to a transfer station, which is their prerogative. Horton is also scheduled to bring it out here if they have such a thing. So I got a permit from the state of Kansas so that all that debris can be burned out there. And that is in effect when there's a local disaster declared by the board, it can be burned out there. So in order to do that, We planned on a road going on the west side of the tipping floor. And that's where the incoming traffic would go to get rid of their tree limbs. And just picture semi after semi, you know, people with their trailers. That's how they would come in. And the reason that I did that was the transfer station's still going to be operating doing trash. So we don't want that additional traffic up there on the scale. And the county, if you want to be reimbursed, you're reimbursed by the cubic yard, not by weight. There's no reason to be using the scale at all. So we'd have a person down there just collecting information like license plate number or whatever, keeping track to get reimbursed. Okay, but we need that road going on the west side of that for that disaster preparation. It's burned out there, and then the people would drive across that field and come out that old gate to the west. That way we have no traffic that's crossing each other. Okay, the reason I'm bringing that up is that's that same road that we need to use the new trailers, the loaded trailers to take them out of the landfill. And you all know how tight the money is out there. I'm asking the county to make that road, build it up at the county's expense. And it'll serve both purposes. And it's just building it up alongside the west side of the tipping floor, nothing out across that field.
That market area, so we have the floor, wood and everything else like that come out there.
Right.
Right now out here, they want big branches and stuff, how they would paint. That would this would be a city.
Yeah, the stuff that can legally be burned.
Okay.
So you mean like a tornado?
Right.
So if you had construction debris in there.
Right, as long as it's stuff that can legally be burned. You can't burn shingles, you know, that kind of thing. It's gotta be really clean. And there'll be a person there checking them in and make sure that it is clean. Tree branches is the big thing.
He checks how big the loads they are, right? How many cubic
Right.
yards?
Yeah. And you know how that is, some are gonna be packed in, some aren't, but that's why they go by volume, that's what FEMA's, you know, they pay by the cubic yard.
So search, is in North Carolina.
Okay.
Like that.
So you're asking the county to fund the portion of the road that's on the west side of the building, north of it a little bit to where it curves to the west. Is that what you're saying? So then is the landfill gonna complete the road?
That goes across that field.
Uh-huh.
Okay, my idea of that years ago when we did this was we're only gonna do it when they can drive across that. It's like going to C and D right now,
Uh-huh.
only when it's dry enough for trucks to drive on it will we allow it to be used.
Uh-huh.
So we won't have people hauling in.
So you won't have you don't need gravel or,
No, it'll just be a,
and then is this a road on top of? Is that on top of material that's been buried already,
yes.
covered with dirt? Yeah, okay. Okay.
That's where they hang on to, the hang on right now.
Okay,
No, but there's nothing buried out there, is there?
Yeah, there's trash from years ago.
That's-
We used to take municipal.
they're haying.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't.
Okay, I didn't know that was on. Full trash out there.
Trying to see the scale of this map. Where's that? Is this that little barn that sits?
That's an intro.
Yeah, the barn's over there, yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Do you have an estimated cost for that road?
No, I don't know how to estimate that.
And are you looking for, it's just gravel?
I believe it's gonna have to have like 3-inch rock to make a base and then gravel over the top.
But you're not looking for a chip seal or anything
No.
like that?
We just need it so that it is safe to drive that truck on every day going through there. We'll have to keep snow off of it and everything, but we need it safe for that truck to be used.
And this is all part of the new landfill plans, what we just approved with the parking pad there. They're gonna hook and they'll drive.
The parking pad will be up here, you know?
Yeah, and then so they're gonna drive on the outside of that building.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so what's your timeline on this road then? When would you like it completed?
By the time the station's done, November 1st.
Somewhere in the fall, okay.
I think it's something that road can be working, especially if you get that chipping and sealing at their time to get worse. All that stuff. Less out on the roads.
down, you pack that on the need. And put a good base on it. Probably. All three put together, that much.
Well, you already got gravel, basically. There's already gravel right
Sure.
here on this west side of the buildings, we're gonna go gravel road.
Are there gonna be any tubes involved?
There's already two.
They're already there.
They're there and they even put concrete around them, so it's built
So
underneath.
it's all set.
where this
Okay.
road is.
Just replace that.
Yes.
Well, are you looking for action today on this, or is it all right to have the county
No, it's fine either way.
just have them look at it and kind of get an estimate?
And if you do not approve this, we will still make it work somehow.
Okay.
This would just be a big help if we can have it.
All right, well, we'll get. Can you contact county? And
Yes.
have them look at it, have a road
I will do that.
form and see what he thinks. Okay, all right, perfect. All right. Okay, anything else?
Okay, yep.
All right.
The last thing on the page is, since day one I've been out there, we've had trouble hauling trash away. And Bill, you were down there once with Doug and hauled one load away. All right, I am proposing, and I've talked with District 1, the supervisor there, and he's agreed to this plan. If we use their semi tractor and a part-time driver from there, and that's Tim, who I talked to, and he's agreed to this, if you guys approve. And it'd probably be 1 to 2 loads a week, and it would only be when he's available and the truck's available. They get first shot at everything. If they have extra, we can use them. Right? The cost that we would reimburse them at, FEMA has a rate schedule for equipment, and for the best semi tractor they've got, it's $87.02 an hour. Okay. The round trip should take 3 hours going down to Perry and back. That's what Nick's doing now. He's doing 3 a day. And it's over the 9 hours for him. But we'll do 3 hours a day, or 3 hours per trip at $87.02 an hour. The part-time driver will pay him $90 per round trip. So we propose to pay District 1 for the semi tractor and their driver per round trip, $351.06.
We're paying $375 for Tim. Or
Yes,
for
per
that, right?
yeah.
That sounds.
That, Bill, I think I know where you're thinking is why aren't we doing this?
No, I'm just,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just
Just
verifying,
making sure
no, I have no trouble with this.
that, okay,
Okay, and you. Yeah, this is, you've talked to District 1, work this out, 1 to 2 loads per week. And if you can't do it because he's busy doing something else, what happens? You just,
then we're back to where we are right now.
Okay, you
We're
just-
begging him to
okay,
come bring us a driver.
you'll still use hand if you can.
Yes,
Okay. He's the safety valve. This is the safety.
and it's talking to the foreman at District 1, he said he would like his truck to be used. He said it's hard on it just setting around. So he would like it to be used.
Okay.
So this is actually cheaper than by a tiny bit what Ham charges us. So financially, it's
Oh, it is.
our benefit.
All right. Did hands raise their rate?
No, that's in a contract they're proposing it would be raised, but under the old one, we're still.
Well, any questions about that? I mean, that took some legwork to connect all those dots, so I think that, I mean, that sounds like a good alternative. We've talked about this at length. And, you know, at one point, you were gonna drive, but now this has changed, so I think it sounds workable to me.
Kevin knows all our equipment, because he's our part-time guy, but he knows all about it.
Okay.
You guys, over there,
What?
you use it very.
So is this set? I mean, if it takes him 3.5 hours, is it still this 351.06?
That's what I'm proposing.
Okay.
Yes, I'm paying him 3 hours for the truck and 3 hours for the driver.
And so transfer station at, you know, one time during the year or every month, how do you clear this? That when you reimburse?
What I would like is for District 1 to give us a bill,
Okay,
and then we have a bill to pay.
okay, okay. All right. Well, is the commission agreeable to that plan?
Thinking that. No rate or travel, not charging, but Tim, one of our part-time employees. So, I mean, I understand semi-charge, what you do. Truck charge, but. You just be paying the wage for it, work. I don't know if it have to be as high.
My thought on that was I want somebody excited about doing the job and wanting to do it. Because right now, if you pay them, I don't know what they're getting paid, if you're paying them $15 an hour, it's, oh, I really don't feel like doing that, I'm not doing it. Where if I give them a big incentive, yeah, I want to do that, and when we ask, they'll do it.
I see what you're saying, that.
Well,
It's-
or is he gonna get, those hours gonna be paid by the landfill?
In my opinion, this is the way I was looking at it, was he is working for a different department with different job duties. So that should be separate, and, I'm going back to, coming from my past experience. When you could work for two different departments of the state at the same time, that's your part-time job over here, but you weren't doing the same job duties. Therefore, your overtime did not kick in because you're not doing the same job duties. And I'm not familiar with Kansas well enough to know, I understand what I'm saying.
Like. Offering this, more likely they'll get it through it versus. They can put it 16, whatever the hour. Can we do it kind of like we do? For G, you go in with the set amount. Ain't no like Richard doing something different than that, just get a dollar amount for what you're doing.
Well, he wouldn't be getting paid for the county, he'd be getting paid for the landfill. So when he worked for the landfill, the county would probably take that back. That's a landfill.
He's an employee of the transfer station.
Yeah, not he's doing the truck right on top of it.
I was just trying to clarify in my mind, but I understand what you're saying. We want somebody to do it. I'm not gonna call up the night before and say, hey, come and do a road. For $30, come out. Down there and back, but, I want to get, like, make that. For 3 hours, make difference.
Okay, well, I'm glad you clarified that, because I looked at that as that the transfer station was going to reimburse road district at that level, that 351 per trip. And the employee was still being paid by the road district.
Oh,
That's not how it's operating. Okay,
I think that's paying way too much. To get it that way. You're paying his hourly wage on top of that.
no, let me explain it better. I was operating, I thought that we were just crediting Road District 1 for their driver who they were paying for the $90. I thought the road district would still be paying him his road district wages.
Oh,
And then the county was just, or excuse me, the transfer station was just calling that $90, that to cover that expense. But your intention is for us to pay
261.
the road district, will be 261.06 for the use of the truck. And then the transfer station pays the
Driver.
driver
$90.
$90 to make the turn.
That helps. Clarify too.
Okay. Okay, so then the $90 is that taxes in, or is that,
That's just what we'll pay.
that's the labor, so there'll still be some payroll tax and things on
Open contract labor and
just for
that part of it.
Does this raise any red flags? Kevin, does it raise any red flags with you?
It could, good as far as, we just need to make sure. Doesn't it be full-time versus part-time, overtime, all of that, so we'll have to check. The bar, but also the cake can to see if we can.
Okay.
Or you. There's a lot of issues I think. We'll have to
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Lemkool, he needs to step out for a few minutes. Are you comfortable with what else is on the agenda?
Yes.
Okay. Do we need to make a decision on this for you today since he's leaving? Or just the truck part, the driver part?
Yeah, that's your guys' call, what you want to do. We need trash hauled away when it builds up.
Not arguing. So we'll, and we're using his name here. That's okay. I guess our part-time driver from Road One. If he will be paid essentially what's a premium, is he the only one allowed to do the job? Or what if there's another county employee that says, hey, I'm part-time, I have time, I'd like to do it? How do we address?
He's the one that is the best fit for our operation out there.
Okay.
To do it, so that's the one that I want doing it.
Okay, okay,
And I know that paying that premium, others are gonna complain, you know, but it needs to be part-time, so we're not falling into the overtime category.
so when you say he's part-time too, does that mean, does he work every week the way it is? Or is he just on call whenever there's a job to do?
I don't have an answer.
Don't have an idea.
Mainly all president we're doing chipping seal.
Okay.
I we're, you know, chipping seal on, but he's just that extra driver.
Okay. Okay,
It doesn't work every week like we do the project out in town.
Uh-huh.
Typically work more that week.
Okay. Okay. All right. And trying to get out in front of some potential, issues. So just asking questions, but no, this is, don't take my questions as, being in any way negative, just trying to ask them. You've done a lot of work here and it makes sense because you actually, if we can pull this off and get your extra trash out of the way, it in actuality, it should save the county or the transfer station $24.11.
That's right. And it's done.
Yeah.
That's our problem, is it just sits there until we get a roll.
Yeah, okay. All right. So we are gonna have our county clerk and county attorney are gonna do a little research on the employee side of this. So we won't make a decision here, but once we get those questions addressed, we move on. Is next week, is that possible? Okay. Okay, we'll have a decision next week and we could probably do that without, you guys. Okay. I know you're busy. Okay, is there anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, well, I appreciate the legwork you've done on this. It's a lot of, you got something for it?
I'll just say, I thank you for all the work you've been doing,
Thank you.
getting this all.
So the transfer station is kind of a big deal and are you still getting the quantity, the increased quantity like you?
The C&D has slowed down this week,
Okay,
but who knows? We're gonna have to wait and average it out in over a month's time.
All right.
Can't go away week by week.
So your new rates went in the 1st of April, right?
first
Oh,
of May.
1st of May. So you haven't seen that yet. Okay. Oh,
Well,
yeah, it's the 1st of May, yeah.
if you would,
Or of the month, this is.
if you see some financial trends, changing, just keep us informed and, we've talked at length about some other needs at the transfer station as far as equipment and I mean, we need to start planning for that too, because if you're gonna get you're gonna get a lot of traffic, we need to make that place, fully operational. So I appreciate your time and let us know, progress there. And, other than that, you got anything for us, noxious weed side?
Good.
No, thistles are growing. You getting out ahead of them?
I am.
Yeah.
I'm also doing some spraying for people on the business spraying.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I can make money for the county doing that too. I'm gonna start using Heather, I think tomorrow, so we'll train her. So
Okay, so
she's
explain
part-time. She can be my part-time help, summer help, Heather
to do,
spraying
oh,
of the truck.
okay.
We'll have two
She'll run the
trucks.
lawn. Yeah.
Well, she'll run the other truck.
She'll run the other truck. I didn't hear you. Okay. Okay. Okay, so each truck is a one-man operation. Okay.
Get more done.
Yeah, you would.
They were spraying Friday, right? It's Friday, last.
Get pretty much got the state side. Up the longer right and stuff. Let's go south. The contract got with the state.
State got any new? You know, are they like, do you do anything with Bradford pear trees? You do anything with that since it's a noxious weed or red cedar, or are you just Lespedeza, thistle, smart weed, things like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I didn't know. Bradford pears are easy to see now.
Oh, yeah.
They're everywhere. Yeah, they're everywhere.
What the kind of people are moving for different trees out like that.
Yeah. Anyway, one ornamental, 10 years ago, their ornamental tree
Oh,
was
yeah.
today's noxious weed. So,
Basic, yeah.
okay. All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. If you got questions or need anything from us, you know how to reach us. Feel free
All
to
right.
come back anytime.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks a
Good
lot.
day.
Okay. All right, that's a lot. So then on our list for things to consider is we need to talk about that road on the west side and then we'll talk about the truck. But everything else, I mean, that all looks pretty good. They did the math and I guess when they do the transfers from the transfer station to the noxious weed, as far as like the $500 a month, will that go through? And you'll. Okay. Yeah, we'll have to track it somehow. Okay, I'm glad to hear you say that. Shouldn't be too hard. That's what she said. So, okay, next on our agenda is this amended cable permit. And that was something we approved a few weeks ago or a month ago, and it looks like they ran into the trees need to be removed. So do you have any questions on that?
Yeah. Should have looked at that one when we go by, but I just think it's fine.
Okay, all right. So. And we can go ahead and approve that without Rich. So I guess I would make a motion that we approve this amended Berry cable permit number 25-3A.
I'd second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, motion carried. That is approved. Morning.
Hi. I just brought in the paper one for you. Oh, you did? Okay.
Okay. Well, you want to take that back with you?
Sure. He just said there were too many trees that needed to be removed.
Understood. Understood. Okay,
That's what
thank
they
you.
changed. Thank
Anything
you.
else while you're here? In and out. All right, perfect. Thank you. Okay, number 4 is biking across Kansas.
Why don't you stay in here? Sam? I
Guess he had something for
don't
you.
know if I have any questions for you or not, but you might as well stay here for a couple more minutes.
For the biking across Kansas?
No,
That's
it's
your
not,
question?
not the biking. Oh, yeah, but. Yeah, I think biking across Kansas is probably all right. They are gonna work on 270 there, but it's,
I told him that has changed to late June, early July now,
and they're,
and this is May. June 13th.
Okay,
so that should, I thought it should be all right.
Yeah, I did warn him about that.
so when you get something like this, you look at this route and then the county road crews will do their best to, if there's actually active construction there and whatever.
Yes, I showed it.
Okay,
And
okay,
And
it shouldn't be a big deal because it's only going like a half mile on it or something, right?
Yeah.
They could go up and go on,
yeah,
highway anyway.
other-
right? So it wasn't a big issue.
and this is just information. We don't need to make it.
Correct.
All right, okay, sounds like they've been informed. You got any more?
I don't know.
Are you gonna ride in it, Bill? No?
20 years ago, I would have liked to.
All right, that was just for fun. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Number 5.
But
Number 5 is this on our agenda is this Goldfinch Road engineer information. Yeah, yeah, okay. So my question, the reason this is here is I wanted to present this, some of the obstacles in the way of doing this project to some of the people, the landowners in the area. And is it okay if I do that? Everybody think it's all right? Okay, all right. So I'll just send that to some guys that I think would be interested in seeing that.
okay,
And that takes care of that. Is there, is there anything else?
Yeah. So. District 2 had trouble with their trucks. District 3 has some truck issues too. I don't know if you've heard about them. So the pup truck needs basically a new bed on it too, I think. I mean, they talked about getting it one repaired. But that's gonna be $20,000, so. I guess my thought is, do we really need that pup truck if we have a semi hauling and a other big dump truck? Can we get it done with just 2 drivers? No, yeah, the trailer, not the truck, the trailer. So, and then the other issue is the semi needs to be overhauled and has issues with the motor. That could cost $30,000 or something,
Which semi is that?
whichever, it's a Peterbilt, I'm not sure what it is. It's that green one that, we only have one over there. But it had 1,000,000 miles on it, but
So it needs to be overhauled, or they think it needs to be overhauled?
it's making noise. I kind of think maybe one of the thought is that one of the sleeves is slipping, there's moving
Okay.
up and down or something. That was what Walker's idea was.
Okay, Walker's looking at. All right.
So do we need, so you thought you could get to it in a week and a half or so. Do we need a motion to allow that, or is that, do we have to have bids on something like that, or
How much do they think it would be?
$30,000 or so,
30, yeah, it'll be that.
maybe 32 or at least.
I'll stop at Walker's on the way home after the meeting, and I'll have him put some information down on paper and send it. I'm not sure.
I thought it was a Peterbilt, but I don't know. Is that what that is?
That's the dilemma of this equipment. You're talking a 96.
Well, does it say if it's a semi or a dump truck? I think other dump trucks are Peterbilt too, so.
Policy services. Plus 50, 35, 53.
So we need to get quotes for the repair from 2 different places.
If it's within that threshold, then based on the policy.
All right. All right, so, do I need to cancel my planned visit then? Do we need to do that in some official manner?
Well, we still need a quote from him.
Okay, I'll stop. All right.
So then I guess your question, if this is that feasible rather than trying to find a different one? I mean, he thought everything else was working. Well, actually, they took it and got air conditioning recharged, but for that, they thought it was working, but.
So I guess it depends on the age of it, of course. Motor, transmission, rear ends, that's what usually goes out in a truck. If the motor is the most expensive, truck prices are significantly lower than they were. I mean, when I have to look at the condition of it, it's just a judgment call. You know, I mean, is it worth it? Is it not? You could buy another used truck and spend 40 or 50 and dump 30 into the motor, you know, in a couple of months.
Right.
At least if it's overhauled, you know what you got. I guess my question, I guess my primary concern just like what you're trying to do we need it? You know, what does that truck actually, what does that truck do? What's its primary use?
We'll use it to haul rock all the
Use to
time.
haul rock all the time. So it's on the road. Whenever they're hauling
The chip and seal rock.
the chip and seal. All right.
Yeah, Candy uses center dump too. That's what they were using it that day for. They just,
So these trucks, you know, okay, so like road 2 here has this 2000 Freightliner dump that we want to put that bed on, or we said we would. So that truck's 25 years old. It's got 240,000 miles on it. I mean, they're putting, that's only 10,000 miles a year. I didn't even, I mean, if you overhaul a motor, what I'm saying is that 10,000 miles a year, if that's what they're using, I mean, that thing will last forever.
should last.
That'll last me.
It's been having issues, but it seemed like it just got worse.
Okay.
Lately, so.
Okay, well, I'll stop. I'll look at it, talk to Walker, see what he thinks. He's very good. And then we'll search out additional quotes for repair and move on. Is that right?
I swear.
Okay, anything else?
So. Yeah, so the butt trailer, I don't know. Do we think we can? I think we kind of need to discuss about that. I mean, it's good when, if all three of them are hauling that, you get a lot more done, but then. It's less than a new truck, you 24 or $34,000 or something. Quite a bit to get it rebuilt. It had some issues. With the bearings on a hitch on a tongue. It's got a pretty longer tongue than the one that Jerry's has. And so it cut the mileage like 2 miles a gallon. When they were pulling that, so I don't know if that's the best option or if we need to look at other options.
It's hard to make calls like this where we're not doing the work ourselves and, but yeah, we need to have some sort of sit down, some sort of conversation about the equipment that the county owns, how they use it. I mean, are there duplicative pieces? Are there things we could get by? Or actually, are there things that we need that we don't have too? We need to have that sometime, because you're looking at 20 or 34,000 to repair a trailer, or is it 24,000?
24 maybe.
24 just.
I think you could buy a new one for 34.
Yeah, well, then that seems,
Quite a bit.
I don't feel like I have enough information to make any sort of call on that.
Yeah, I'd say the main thing's probably get that other overhauled.
Okay, all right, and I'll stop there.
But because I'm chip and seal and we weren't gonna be using a put trailer anyway.
Sure.
The truck's all right.
Sure, okay.
And I think should have the rock pretty much all by now anyway.
Good. Okay. Anything else?
I think that's all.
Anybody else? Have anything? No? You sure? All right.
Let's see.
We had talked, go ahead.
I'll bet.
Okay, yeah, we're not gonna have a work session today. It looks like we have one on the schedule for. One thing we didn't do is our meeting in the. Can we talk about that? Didn't make a meeting, have that May 30th meeting in the basement of the jail. And I guess I would make, did we have a 5:30 start time? I think it was 5:30.
I think that's what he's talking about.
Does that still work for you? Okay, so I would make a motion. And I look at the calendar. Is May 30th? Is that the correct date? I would make a motion then that we go ahead and have a regular meeting in the basement of the sheriff's office or the basement of the jail at 5:30 p.m. on May 30th. Yeah, I guess with the intention of giving a different segment of the public an opportunity to attend. And I guess see how the meetings function and then have an opportunity for public comment.
So a couple questions. That's the end of the month meeting? And that's on what day? On Monday?
Friday.
That's a Friday.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, Friday at 5:30 is not the perfect time, but it's
That's,
what we got.
yeah, I'll check that.
Okay, now. It's not Memorial Day weekend.
athlete with that.
Okay, good. Sorry, you would second it then?
Yeah.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to have that meeting May 30th. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
That's the end of the month meeting.
To the month.
We won't meet that morning. We'll just meet that day.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, it's been, motion carried. All right, that's done. That's taken care of. That's the list that I had. Did I miss anything? No. You know, on the agenda, something else? I'm sorry, I don't see anything else. Okay, well, I guess if that's all we got, entertain a motion to adjourn.